Recent news headlines might have you thinking that the real estate market's just kind of limping along. Reports show that, number of listings continues to fall, home sales continue to fall, and we've got these really high mortgage rates, which interestingly enough are not only keeping buyers, but sellers away. Well, if you ask anybody that's been out looking at homes recently, you might be surprised to learn that the perception about the market doesn't really match the reality. What if I told you that multiple offers were still a part of our resale market? How about the fact that many new home builders are still working off of quite long wait lists? So, if you've been considering buying a home, should you wait for mortgage rates to fall before doing so? How about on the sell side? Is now a good time to sell? So, in this month's real estate market update for September 2023, I'm going to answer all of these questions and share the latest data with you. I'm also going to share a tactic that's going to show you how you can buy a home today and get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage that's up to 2% lower than the prevailing rate. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to dive into all of that right now. Hi, this is Andrew with the Andrew Smith team, eXp Realty here in Frisco, Texas. And I'm going to put a link right up here to a video I did just recently that asked the question, is the housing market broken? Now, I did a deep dive into that question recently because, essentially the real estate market is kind of frozen. It's not really going anywhere. It seems to be at a standstill. And despite higher mortgage rates, there are still plenty of people out there in the market that want to buy. And believe it or not, one of the biggest problems we have is that there's not enough homes for sale to satisfy demand. And to be honest with you, that is one of the main reasons why the home sales number keeps falling. After all, you cannot sell what isn't for sale. So right now in Frisco, there are 16.4% fewer homes for sale than there were a year ago. 4 years ago, there were more than double the number of homes that are for sale now. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you and just take a quick look at inventory for Frisco and Prosper and show you exactly what it is that I'm talking about. What you're looking at right here is my weekly market report. This is for Frisco, Texas. What I'm interested in is just showing you where we are with regards to inventory. This is going all the way back to 2018 in September. And it kind of shows what I was just explaining. Yes, inventory has been trending up, but relatively to where we were 5 years ago, you can see how far inventory has essentially fallen. And that is one of the biggest problems we have in the market right now. Not enough homes for sale relative to the number of people that continue to move into this area. Here is the exact same information for Prosper. As you can see here in Prosper, again, going all the way back, you look at how inventory has fallen. Yes, it's increased somewhat, but it is still so far below what we were just seeing 4 and 5 years ago. So where is all of the inventory? Falling inventory is the one variable that all of the expert forecasters got wrong last year. Now, you might recall as mortgage rates rose drastically, the assumption was that the number of homes for sale would continue to rise as buyers pulled back. And that flat out didn't happen. With the economy still strong, the vast majority of homeowners that were selling because they wanted to, not because they had to. So with that in mind, 71% of all homeowners in the country right now have a mortgage rate below 4%. So why in the world, if you're just selling out of choice, would you trade that low mortgage rate in for a new one at 7%? The answer is you wouldn't, and they didn't. So sellers just simply took their home off of the market. And that is what had a big impact in home prices. Did home prices rise absolutely stupid crazy at the beginning of 2022? They did. They absolutely did. It was insane. It shouldn't have been that way. It was setting us up it was a recipe for disaster, or so everyone thought. Now, it needed to stop, and it did, and there was a correction in the market. All of our local markets here saw a correction last fall. That's when the correction took place. Okay, now the problem with that is that most of the forecasts that took place in the mainstream media that came out towards the end of 2022 were forecasting all of these big price drops and crashes to take place this year. And that simply didn't happen. And the reason is home prices are always they're a reflection of the relationship between available supply and demand in the market. That is exactly what they are. And so supply dropped dramatically. And as a result, we saw home prices actually start to solidify because that relationship between supply and demand really, really tightened up again. So what you're looking at here, this is 2023 year-end home price forecasts. And what we're taking is those experts that made all of the predictions last year and what their revised forecasts are. So as you can see, it ranged from 0.6% from the Mortgage Bankers Association, all the way up to a 20% price decline by AEI. Now, on the right, you can see that the current forecast for all of those entities is now in the black. Not one of them is forecasting that we will have price declines in 2023. Now, as a matter of fact, according to the Home Price Expectations Survey, and what that is a survey of the 100 top economists and industry experts that comes out quarterly. They are now forecasting home price appreciation all the way through 2027. I'm going to show you that right here. So you can see for 2023, they're looking at 3.32. I do think that 2024 number is going to come up once the latest report is released. But here's what they're looking at for 25, 26, and 27. It's just continued growth and price appreciation. Now, is all of this subject to change? Sure it is. But as I've mentioned before, there is absolutely nothing anywhere in the data right now to indicate that it will. We're not going to see a wave of foreclosures. The delinquency rate is at record lows. We need to see more inventory come on. And right now, it's only the new home builders that are going to bring in that inventory. Could there be a major disruption in the economy? Sure, there could. None of us know what's going to happen overall. But even on that, more and more of the economic forecasters are saying the likelihood of a prolonged recession or a recession at all continues to fall. So on these home price appreciation numbers, even though they're national, what they're forecasting are what we should see here locally in Frisco and Prosper are pretty close to this. The forecasts that I've been seeing are relatively in line with these forecasts. Now, what I can tell you is even though nationally we've already gained back all of the price losses that took place last fall, or the price declines, we haven't done that in either Frisco or Prosper yet. We have still not gotten back to and surpassed our peak. But saying that, year over year, prices are trending upwards. So as of August, prices in Frisco are up 6.8% year over year, and they're up 2.4% in Prosper. So we'll go back to the question I asked at the beginning. Is now a good time to consider buying or selling? And and the truth to that is that only you can make the decision that's best for you and your family. I mean, everyone's situation is unique and different, and I'm not going to try and convince you one way or the other. My goal as I put these videos out each and every week and these updates every month is simply to provide you with the information along with some insights to enable you to make the decision that is best for you. So with that in mind, a few thoughts for buyers. Now, the vast majority of buyers that I've spoken to recently are more focused on mortgage rates than they are home prices. And that makes sense. I think everyone's kind of come to the realization that the big crash that was talked about is not going to happen. But truth be told, is mortgage rates move the needle more in terms of affordability on the monthly payment than a change in home prices do. So if mortgage rates go down 1%, that has the exact same impact as roughly a 10% price reduction or a 10% decline in prices. And with everyone forecasting prices to increase, I think the realization that in the foreseeable future, the prices are going to decline at all, let alone 10 or 20%, is pretty remote. So, should you wait? Should you wait for the mortgage rates to come down? Well, that's definitely an option. But some of the money you're going to save by the decline in mortgage rates is going to be offset by the expected increase in home prices. So, at the beginning, I said, what if you could get a mortgage rate that's lower than the prevailing rate? Wouldn't that kind of be like the best of both worlds? And the reality is you absolutely can. And there is a unique opportunity in the market to do just that. For example, I just recently helped a home buyer not only pay under list price for a home, but we were able to secure a 30-year fixed rate mortgage of 5.25%. Not a temporary buy down, not a 2-1 buy down, a permanent buy down to 5.25%. That's what I mean by a unique opportunity in the market right now. So think about this. Once mortgage rates do start to fall, which they are expected to, as those drop, more and more buyers that are sitting on the sidelines, just like you might be, are going to come back into the market. We're already dealing with scarce supply. So as more buyers come in, what do you think home prices are going to do? If anything, those price appreciation forecasts are going to get revised up. We're going to start to see those accelerate quicker. And the concessions that are available in the market today are going to be gone. They're just simply not going to be there. You're not going to be able to get the concessions needed in order to have repairs made or have this mortgage rate get bought down the way you can right now. So if you'd like additional information on exactly what we did and what that looks like, schedule a call. I've got a link in the description below. It's directly to my calendar. We can set up a Zoom or a phone call, whichever works better for you. And let's talk it through and see if it makes sense for your situation. Now, as far as sellers go, even though home prices are expected to increase over the next few years, now could actually be a great time to sell depending upon why you're selling. So home prices here in the Frisco area are up approximately 60% over the past 5 years. And chances are you're sitting on substantially more equity than you actually think you are. That's been the case of many homeowners that I've talked to. And so it really depends on your situation. If you're currently in a home that's larger than you need, both of my kids are now at college. I don't need as much space that I have. You might be in a very similar situation. Or maybe you have a 2-story home and you'd prefer a smaller single level home, or maybe even a condo closer to Legacy West or the Star or something along those lines. In that particular case, it may make sense. You may have enough equity built up in your current home to either pay cash for a new home, depending on where you're moving to, or put such a large down payment on the property that the change in mortgage rate is not going to impact you tremendously. On the flip side, you may say, well, I don't need to downsize. My family's growing. I need more space. Well, again, we've got a unique opportunity right now. The builders are what are bringing the inventory, but they're still willing to deal. A lot of them are offering mortgage rate incentives, and in many cases, they are discounting pricing, especially on quick move in or homes that are going to be ready in the next few months. And yes, they are accepting contingent contracts. So in that particular case, you may be able to sell your home, get a good price for your home now, and get into the new construction home that you've been wanting. Or even if it's not new construction, the sellers are still willing in many cases to negotiate. That is going to change as mortgage rates come down and more buyers enter the market. You're going to find that negotiation goes kind of back to where it was. I don't expect we're going to see runaway multiple offers again, but you never know. But you're going to find that there's not as many deals available that are unique to the market environment that we have right now. So again, for you in the description below, I've got a link to my home equity checker. Many people, as I mentioned, are surprised. So take a look at that if you own a home locally and run those numbers, see what it comes up with regards to how much equity you have possibly gained. You might be surprised. And if you've got questions on that, reach out. I'd be happy to do a customized valuation for you to fine tune that if it is something that you are interested in. So again, hopefully this information helps. My goal, as I mentioned, is to help you make the best decision for you and your family. If you have any questions in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can always call or text 469-296-5230 or shoot an email off to Andrew at theandrewsmith.com.